Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Greater Victoria Real Estate Show. It is March 17th. Today, we're going to be talking about elder abuse and real estate risks and what every family needs to know. We have a guest, Charlotte Salomon, who's a King's Counsel. So first of all, welcome our fellow co-hosts. Who do we have?
Hello. Yeah, Andrew Plank here with the Vibe Collective and Royal LePage, Realtor Extraordinaire. And we also have
Jen Lowe, mortgage broker with Dominion Lending Center's Modern Mortgage Group. Good to see you guys.
Hey.
Good to see you. How is everything going?
I'm losing my hair. I can't. It's busy.
Losing or lost? Yeah.
I'm in denial.
Okay,
I actually have a lot more hair than it looks like. It gets shaved just to, but anyway, that's TMI. No, it's been busy. It's been really busy, and it's been a lot of juggling. So had to cancel my volleyball tonight. I usually go out and play with some friends on a Tuesday night, but not going to happen. There's just too much catch up to do. How about you, Jen and Jane?
Oh, sorry. We just listed a fabulous property today. We already have our first showing. So it's on Monterey. If anybody's interested, it's a cream puff. It's so lovely. So it's right across from Monterey Middle School. How are you, Jen?
Good. Yeah, it's slowed down for me a little bit as far as purchases go, but I'm really busy with refinances and renewals right now.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good.
Well,
You'll get busy. You'll get busy again with those buyers. I know they're out there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So there's a bit of a delay on my end. I apologize, you guys. So that's why things are appearing or sounding a little kind of hesitant. But anyway, let's get started with the show. So we're going to be talking about protecting seniors from elder abuse. And again, the guest is Charlotte Salomon. She's with Infinity Law Group, and Charlotte is a bit of a prodigy. I think she went to law school when she was 19 years old. So she's one of those people who, you know, is brilliant. So welcome, Charlotte. How are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
Awesome. So first of all, so we're going to be talking about seniors. We have all gone through this, I think. We have seniors in our families. We're of that age. We're kind of the middle, what do you call it? Like a sandwich generation. How prevalent is elder abuse in Victoria, do you find? How do you see this happening in your business?
Well, I've been practicing law now for 30 years come this May, and that's a really long time. And I've all been in Victoria. So my clients tend to be elderly. And also, I find that lately I've been getting calls from concerned citizens. It could be a concerned neighbor that they think that their elderly neighbor is being taken advantage of by someone, or they say someone is over at my elderly neighbor's house and doing a job that isn't needed. I get calls all the time and they ask me what to do. And so I've had to do some brainstorming, looking at resources that are out there. The obvious thing to say is call the police if you really think that there is a crime being committed against someone. But also, even with my own clients, making sure that there are safeguards in place. And but it does get tricky. I mean, there are various scams out there. I can give you a description of them. I mean, there's telephone ones where they call up an elderly person and just try to get them to give their credit card number over the phone, saying they're with a bank, or even email scams that we could all get, caught up in, not just seniors, but all of us, where they steal our personal information if we click on a link. But it's the home maintenance scams that really make me sad. I mean, I had a flyer the other day in my own home from a company saying, we've observed these problems on your house. And it looked like they had filled it out just for my house. But on closer observation, you could see that it was a scam. It was like a photocopy. And they were telling me I had a certain type of, siding on windows on my house that I didn't have. And I'm thinking, if I wasn't that astute and if my home wasn't relatively new, I'd actually think, wow, there's something really wrong with my house. So I sent that along to the Better Business Bureau. And they were very interested. And they said, thank you. We're going to follow up on this right away. Because you're right. This is not what should be given out to people. So there
Hmm.
are lots of scams out there. But, you know, what I deal with as a lawyer in trying to help people is preparing documents like a power of attorney.
Hmm.
Which is something that helps out a senior eventually. So when someone still has capacity, they do their testamentary documents, the will, the power of attorney, the representation agreement, to speak for them when the time comes that they don't have capacity to speak for themselves anymore.
So how does somebody choose that power of attorney?
The,
So
how,
usually it's can be the oldest child or a child of the
Mhm.
family or the responsible one, but I know you act as power of attorney for some people. So how do people?
Sometimes. Yeah. I would rather someone have a trusted relative or friend act than a lawyer, a law firm. It's not really something that's, our forte, and it's a lot more
Hmm.
economical if someone else acts as someone's power of attorney. But obviously it has to be someone trusted, but most importantly, it has to be someone Canadian and hopefully in British Columbia, because a lot of the British Columbia banks are getting really picky. And
Yeah,
unless you have the ID with your exact name and a residency in British Columbia, they may not accept a power of attorney nominating someone outside of British Columbia to be your attorney.
Jen.
Huh.
Quick question. There's two types of power of attorney. Now, I don't want to get too deep in the weeds, but there's a general power of attorney, and then there is a bank power of attorney.
Well, not
What are the
really.
difference?
So
No.
there's no difference there, but what you see a difference is there's something called an enduring power of attorney. And I think that may be what you mean. That's the main power of attorney. That's what the banks want to see. And then there is something, a power of attorney that only comes into force when something happens. Like if
Okay.
I am in a coma, then this power of attorney applies. Like
Right.
that is not the type of power of attorney we want to drop for clients. We want clients to have an enduring power of attorney.
And
Something where
so
it's
you
clear.
also have to designate that it's if it's regarding real estate that it's within the power of attorney, correct?
Yes, all of our powers of attorney do say that. So they can be used for real estate when we do an enduring power of attorney. And how it's used for real estate is it's actually filed in the land title office. And so it does go in there. So in the future, if someone needs to sell their house, the person named as the power of attorney can sign off on the sale.
Is
And
that
that's
true of
very
every
helpful.
power of attorney that allows for residential? Because that's not I've never seen or heard of having to go to land title office to find a copy of power of attorney for selling a home. Is that?
Well, it's something that the conveyancing firm, the firm that's involved in the sale of the home, will
Mhm.
ask for and file, because quite often we have people moving from out of province
Mhm.
and they can't be here to sign the sale documents. So they would nominate someone else to sign the sale documents for them in their absence.
Right.
It's just a lot easier because unfortunately, during COVID, we were able to do remote signups as long as the person was in Canada. But the government took that away from us, and we're not able to sign up anyone remotely. In other provinces, you can do residential conveyancing through DocuSign. You can't do
Right.
that in BC. I have to
Right.
literally be sitting across from that person in person to sign a residential document or a mortgage. And it's funny, apparently, I don't have to do that when I sign a will or when someone signs a will. So it's just different
Huh.
government offices, different government ministries, different government legislation.
Hmm.
I don't know what the reason for it is, but yeah, we're back to having to see someone in person. So if that person can't be in front of me, then there could be a power of attorney that they've done, and the person named as power of attorney has to be in front of me to sign off.
Initially to sign off the power of attorney, and then you can sign off later.
Then that
Or
person named as power of attorney can sign the sale documents, can sign the transfer documents.
yeah.
Regarding finances, because I'm thinking one of the things one of the reasons why there is elder abuse is because people want to access the finances of the person with whom they're trying to do business with. And are you finding, is it helpful to have a power of attorney for finances, or like somebody who's holding the credit card so
Mhm.
that they can't spend willy-nilly?
Yeah. So most powers of attorney are done for finances, not for real estate, right? And that's the enduring power of attorney that we talked about. And what that is when someone loses capacity. There's someone that was named as a trusted person that can go to the bank, that can deal with the credit card, that can give instructions to the investment manager, that can mortgage a home if necessary. So these are things that the power of attorney can do, but there have been incidences of abuse.
Yeah.
So even if you have a power of attorney naming someone, that power of attorney is filed with the bank, but there's no one safeguarding the decisions that the power of attorney does, right? That the person
Yep.
named,
Right.
we'll call them the named attorney. There's no one making sure and looking over their shoulder, yeah, that was the right decision to make. And actually, when you are preparing a power of attorney for a client, you have to make sure the client understands that the person named as power of attorney may not prudently deal with your assets. They may put it all in Bitcoin and the Bitcoin value goes down. But then that's still okay because they're not acting fraudulently and they are still
Right.
theoretically acting in your best interest. Where the problem arises is where the power of attorney says, hey, I've got access to all this money now. I'm going to go to Vegas and have
Yeah.
fun, or I'm going to go on a great holiday. That's a problem. Or I'm going to use the money to put a down payment on my own home. That's where you have a problem. And that's where we have another layer of protection that you're now seeing happening on the bank side of things.
What's that?
So where is that? Yeah. What's that layer?
So that's a brand new layer that a lot of people don't know about, and that is called the trusted contact person. So, um, a lot of banks, if you have a financial advisor, in addition to requiring you to have or suggesting you have a power of attorney, they'll ask you for a trusted contact person. And this is someone that can help your advisor respond to possible situations of financial abuse or fraud affecting your accounts. And then also the advisor can check on your well-being if for some reason they notice your credit card isn't being paid off on a monthly basis, or they see that the mortgage payments are not being made. They have someone that they can turn to who is someone else other than a power of attorney. So just another extra layer of protection. But
That's
it's important to know this trusted contact person doesn't have the power of the person named as a power of attorney.
Right. Is there any time where there would be the trusted contact person would also be the power of attorney? Or we're talking like, yes?
That is not suggested. The bank specifically asked for a different person, just so there is someone else that can look over the shoulder of the person named in the power of attorney.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And the other thing is, like in the examples that you gave us, Charlotte, you were talking about people who maybe the owner wasn't familiar with, but there can be, in some cases, family members or friends who just start preying, I guess, on these elderly people and asking them for money or, borrowing money that they're going to return. So, and I understand that this can be hard because they're given implicit approval by the owner. It's not it's not until afterwards that you find this out. So I know in our case we ended up for my stepmom, she ended up having somebody who takes care of all the bills, but my sister and I are there to just sort of provide advice for my stepmom if she needs it.
That's right. Yeah, that is so important. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's also the issue of property too, right? I mean, you could see someone taking advantage of a senior and getting them to sign a transfer form, putting the property in the senior's name and this other child's name. And maybe it's something that the parent, isn't really considering the full ramifications of. So cases like that, one in particular called Pecor, got to the Supreme Court of Canada. And the Supreme Court of Canada was very concerned about a property. Like a lot of people have their nest egg, their house is the vast majority of their wealth. And if you have that house passing to only one child in joint tenancy by right of survivorship, so when the parent dies, it goes automatically to that other child on title. What happens to the other children? What happens to the other potential beneficiaries? So the Supreme Court of Canada has said that unless there's evidence to the contrary, that one other person who is named in title, that surviving title holder, they hold the property now in trust for the other beneficiaries. So the Supreme
Oh,
Court of
wow.
Canada was so concerned about this being used as a method to take what's in beneficiaries may otherwise have been entitled to, that they put
Right.
in this presumption. So then
Yep.
the person left on title has to show evidence that this house was actually a gift to them and they're not holding it in trust for their other siblings or the other beneficiaries.
I want to
So,
take
oh, go ahead.
so I just want to take a step back and say, you know, and we all deal with people of various ages, but there is what we're trying to do here is really protect the elders from abuse, and we're talking about coercion. We're talking about within the family abuse as well as outside the family abuse right now, and there's it sounds like the mechanism of a power of attorney is a useful tool, but it also can be a weapon. And
It can be. But the good thing is that you could always take the person who's named as a power of attorney to court in a way and ask for an accounting, a financial accounting of what they've done.
Right. So it's
But
not a
again,
carte blanche.
it's not, but then that's higher legal fees and so. And the same thing with an executor of an estate. They need to give an accounting as to, the monies that flowed in and out of the estate.
Mm-hmm. I
Are
feel
you
like
finding
communication
Oh,
is
sorry.
such a big piece with the family, letting everyone know what you're planning to do before you sign up for a power of attorney. Like
Transparency.
before you give one of the siblings power of attorney, talk it through with the whole family. Yeah,
That's
sorry,
right. So
guys,
when
I'll step
someone
back.
comes into my office and has, I guess I would call it unbalanced instructions, that either they want to inherit only one of their children or disinherit another one, I sort of ask, like, or give only one child the power of attorney. Do your other children know about this? Do other people know what's happening in this will? And do you want me to give a copy of this will to anyone once you've signed it? Those are good questions to ask. Is to save the lawyer from a big headache afterwards. And as lawyers, we have to make very conspicuous notes about all of these discussions, because someone may still challenge the will and saying that the person lacked capacity when they signed their will, and that's a whole other conversation too.
So what I found worked best is when there may be one power of attorney, but everybody is making the decision together, and we have group context that we are understanding that everybody's working together. Are you
That's right.
finding? So you mentioned about one person being on title or the child sharing the property with the parents. I actually have some situations like that where they're trying to avoid the property transfer tax or the death
The
taxes or whatever
probate. Yeah.
probate fees. So is that a successful strategy to both protect the parent and also protect the financing?
I think it's fraught with difficulties. You really need to have good accounting advice before that happens. And I'll give you a quick example, is that if a child puts themselves on title with their parent, that child is now an owner of this property that isn't their primary residence. So then there's tax consequences possibly to that child when the property is sold. They may get dinged for the increase in value of that property and have to pay tax on it because they can't claim an exemption of personal residence.
Right. Capital gains might apply on their portion of ownership. Yeah.
That's right. And so that's an issue. Also, they would also not qualify anymore for the first time home buyers benefit because they're already on title on something.
Yep.
I've seen somebody do that to his sister. So because she didn't have full mental capacity and he took advantage of it. I was not their realtor at that point. I just found out after.
Right.
I'm just curious that the Supreme Court of Canada decision that you were mentioning there, how long ago did that come through?
I think it was about 5-6 years ago now. Funny, the years
Okay.
go by very quickly, but it's relatively recent. So what we would do if someone comes into my law firm and say, look, I really do want to give this home, specifically to this child because I've left other things like RSP designated beneficiaries are the other children. How do I do that without this presumption of resulting trust? So the
Right.
presumption that this child holds it for the other children, we would do some evidence, like a deed of gift, and have the person who owns the house, the parent, sign over that I am specifically giving this house to my child as a gift and not to hold in trust for my other children. So again,
Oh,
you need
okay.
legal advice. Yeah,
Properly documented.
right.
So is there a resource that people can use that would be helpful for children or parents even of people who are not maybe a full mental capacity that they can access that we can add on here on for people to look at?
Well, I mean, I think as far as resources, I just want to bring everyone's attention to a relatively new resource. It's called the Canadian Centre for Decision Making Capacity. So, the Canadian Centre for Decision Making Capacity. And if you look that up, that's all talking about incapacity literacy. So, quite often you have a senior or a parent with dementia. And the question is, have they now lost all ability to make decisions for themselves? Have they lost the ability to make a will, lost ability to sell their home or to deal with their finances, make a will, make a power of attorney, make a living will, like a representation
Mm.
agreement? And the tricky thing is, there's no one test for capacity, for legal capacity. There are tests for mental capacity from a medical point of view. You could do the MOCA test, where you have to draw the numbers on the clock. But lawyers don't go by those tests. We have other tests.
Mm.
And there's no one test that fits everyone. So someone with dementia can sometimes think that they're, back to being a child or what have you, and not have an air of reality. But there are these glimmers of reality that people with dementia have. So
Mhm.
just because they got a medical diagnosis of dementia doesn't mean that they're totally out of luck if they haven't done any planning before, and that this is the time to put someone else in charge. So that's what the Center for Decision Making Capacity comes into. They want to establish a universal test for capacity that everyone can agree on. I mean, I
Mhm.
think that's a very big project, but it makes a lot of sense because some people lack financial literacy, but they may still be capable of doing a will. And maybe they never had financial literacy even before they had dementia. They never had it. So
Yeah.
it's a continuum. It's not yes or no that you have capacity or not. It's a continuum.
I find as we get older, as time moves on, the world gets more complicated. I can see. I mean, I'm 55 now, so technically, I can buy into a seniors complex myself. But as I get older, and the world continues to evolve and get more complicated, we've got AI now and a lot more. The ability to take advantage of people is becoming. It's becoming a lot easier to take advantage of people, and it's becoming a lot harder to tell truth from fiction.
Mhm.
So I can just see how it would have been hard even for my parents and my grandparents as they moved into a world that got more and more modern in their own times, relatively speaking. So we are all going to be dealing with this, and we need to be ahead of it. And there's so many different forms of abuse too that you deal with, and I guess that we want to talk to. I mean, we called this elder abuse. There's lots of forms of abuse out there, and if folks are experiencing any form of abuse, I invite you to reach out for help if you think you're being abused in any way, physical, mental, emotional.
And that first step is the police. I mean, if you
Yes.
think you're being abused or you should call the police department about it. And they get calls like this all the time, and they do wellness checks on people.
Thank you. Yeah, because that's a piece we want to make sure we touch on here.
Mhm.
I have a question around the what's it called again? I just blanked on it, but the secondary title on a piece of property. You can pull your certificate. Your
Certificate of indefeasible title. That one.
Thank you. Yes.
Hopefully we
And
don't see those anymore. I don't want to see those anymore because quite often, it used to be that when you used to go and have a property that's being sold, we used to look at the title and like, uh-oh, someone's
pulled it out.
pulled out this title and the house cannot sell again until it's put back,
That's
in
true.
land titles, or we have to make a very complicated court application to have a replacement done.
And
I
yet back in the
haven't,
day, that was one way of protecting
that's right.
against someone selling a home out from under someone who may have
Yeah.
been compromised mentally, emotionally.
Yeah, but now there's
Uh,
use of liens, more
yeah.
often. No one takes out the title anymore. It's very rarely done. It's just, I haven't had to do that type of application to the court in 10 years.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know
Okay.
it's more.
I had it in one
Yeah.
of my first listings and I was like, I thought this was a myth.
And how many years ago was that, Jane?
20.
Exactly. Right.
I too can park in the seniors parking at close to
Yeah.
the door.
I think we all can, other than Jen.
Well, that with the 55, all of a sudden, yeah, that just makes it, that's really not very far away from me. So senior discount, yeah.
Is there anything else that we need to know about elder abuse and how to protect our loved ones?
I think the best thing to say is to stay in touch with your loved ones. Always make sure that you check up on them. You ask them what's going on in their day, because sometimes they just won't tell you, or they'll feel, that they're embarrassed. So, not just check up by giving them a call, drop in, see what's going on for yourself. See if there's someone who has a ladder up against the side of the house. See if things aren't being cleaned, right? Open the fridge, see if what's in there, right? Make sure there's food in there and not 40 lemons, for example, right? I grew up with a parent with dementia, so I've got to know the signs, but it happens before you know it sometimes. And there's these small, subtle signals. And if you get the person to help in time, then sometimes you can stave off some of the, more severe characteristics of dementia, or at least prolong the quality of life.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think there are signs, but especially if you have a really bright person, they know how to cover it up. And they maybe are, pretending like nothing's happening. And there's Alzheimer's, but there's also delirium. So if somebody has a urinary tract infection, they can really look like they have dementia. So, and these things can be fixed. So exactly what you were saying about coming in and out of reality.
Yeah.
So, all right.
And
Well,
having to
thank you.
visit them.
Thank you so much for coming today. I really appreciate it. Andrew,
Thank you for having me.
Oh,
Thank
here
you.
he comes.
There he is.
So, yeah, if you guys have any questions, how do people get in touch with you?
The email address that's on the screen, I think, is a great way of getting in touch with me, or call the office at Infinity Law. And, we've 250-385-6004, and get in touch with me that way, or any of my colleagues who deal in wills, estates, real estate. Those are my areas, but we have a full service firm as well.
Okay. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. That was really excellent. Thank you.
Okay. Take care, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Take care. Bye-bye. All right. And we are back talking about our finances. Jen, how are we doing?
Yeah, well, here's an update for you. Well, we've got our inflation numbers for February. So inflation dropped to 1.8% in February, which is great news, and supports our stable mortgage rates for now. On the housing side, across Canada, sales dipped slightly again in February, which, however, apparently that's mostly due to some severe storms back east. And activity did pick up towards the end of the month. So hopefully that's going to lead towards a stronger spring market ahead. The major policy update that I've got here for you is GST relief for first-time home buyers is now officially in effect. So it was announced honestly. I think it was about a year ago. Yeah, it was a year ago. So if you first-time homebuyers are purchasing a brand new home going back to March 2025, so if your contract is dated as of March 2025, you're exempt from paying GST. Actually, I shouldn't use that word exempt. You have to apply to the government for a rebate. This is for new homes under 1 million, and apparently there's a partial reduction under 1.5 million. So definitely helpful. I don't know how this was just recently announced, so we'll see how this all transpires and what the application process is like. But yeah, so that's great news. Now, as far as interest rates go, we've got the Bank of Canada rate announcement tomorrow. We're expecting them to hold steady and not make any rate changes tomorrow. We're definitely in a pretty volatile time with what's happening with the conflict in Iran and rising oil prices. We've seen fixed interest rates increase up to 0.25 percentage point. So we'll, unfortunately, hopefully that conflict doesn't last too long, so we don't see fixed interest rates continue to increase.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So regarding the GST, I did go to the site and it looks like you still have to have the GST available, and then you have to apply for the rebate after through CRA.
The CRA. Yeah, there's a rebate application process, it looks like, but there's some key pieces there. So who pays it? Can you finance it? You shouldn't be able to finance it if you're getting it rebated, but where does the money come from? And yeah, so there's definitely some key pieces that need to be sorted out that
Right.
I'll provide an update as soon as I have it.
So if you're not financing it, you need to come up with it. So if you need to come up with it, it's still not that much of a benefit because it's not helping a first-time buyer.
That's a lot of money to have to come up with on $1 million.
On top of, on resale versus new construction. The idea is to help it make it easier for new construction, but you need to still save up that much more for new construction than get the rebate after the fact. Yeah. Okay.
Well, where it would be really nice is if the developer paid that up front and then they made the application for CRA on behalf of the buyer. Yeah. But I guess there's a risk to the developer.
Yep. Yeah. We'll see how this evolves. It will. All these things evolve out based on what works best for the industry and for the people and all parties involved. So we shall see.
All right. So let's move on to stats. Thank you very much. Andrew, you want to take it away?
Yeah. So the last 7 days, we had 396 properties listed, and compared to 357 the week before. So up what is that? 40 listings, 10%. So 10% more. And yet property pendings are down a little bit, 130 versus 139 week over week. Price decreases around the same, 130 to 134, so a little less, but just slightly. And then 50 properties expired in the last week as compared to 40 the week before.
Okay, and so that brings us to our next slide, which is we are at 32.83%. So we're in a balanced market, I would say. What would you say?
Not buyers?
I mean, Jane, you sent us the provincial announcement from Brendan from the BC Real Estate Association, and he was saying in BC in general, although places like Victoria do tend to buck the trend, that we were moving into buyer's market. I feel like we are on the edge of buyer's market for sure, but that's my call based on just general how it feels out there. We're going to see more activity and more inventory. Like if you look at those stats, we've had more inventory coming up and less pendings. So that's the wrong direction.
Well, the
Right.
pendings are from transactions that happened a couple of weeks ago. I do expect it'll be slower because a few things. One is we are also expecting bad weather this week with a lot of rain. So I imagine people will stay in a bit. But also it's March break. And so typically that's not going to be our busiest month. It'll get busy slightly after. But also he said that, and I'll put the link in here. He said that, and who he is, sorry.
Brendan
From the
Ogdenson.
BC. Yeah.
Real estate. Yeah.
Yeah. From our provincial
BC Real Estate Association. Yes.
Yeah. Sorry,
Yeah.
I'm having a blonde moment.
You're having brain brain stuff today.
Okay, Brendan from the BCREA was saying that things are down, especially on the mainland. I think they're almost down 10%, and this mirrors what's happening in other major centers, but Victoria looks like it's pretty solid. So, and we're more of a balanced market. But for Victoria, considering we've been, and I would say, in a firm seller's market and or pretty steady, I think that we're going to see more of the same. We're pretty vanilla.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Are you saying we've had a firm seller's market though for the last little
No,
while?
we've
Is that what
been
you're saying? No.
I'm saying we've been steady.
Okay. We've been pretty steady in the middle of a balance. We've been in a balanced market in that range for a while.
Yeah.
Okay.
So far for March is 261 net unconditional sales. So far for February 2025, that's down from last year. I don't think we're going to make it to 613. New listings were at 700.
February, you mean March, right?
March.
Yeah. Okay. You want me to take over?
No, I'll do it. Okay. March, 261 sales so far this month compared to 613 for March 2025. New listings were at 771. That's down from last year, I would say, where we had 1,487 by the end of March. And total active listings were pretty much on par at 3,092. And that's a little bit higher than last year at 3,024 for March 2025. All right. Anything else you guys want to add?
It's amazing how much the weather affects, people just getting out and active. I mean, I feel it myself even, right?
Yeah. There's nothing worse than it's been really, really poor weather and you've got a listing that's going to launch and it launches into a beautiful, nice, calm, sunny weekend because nobody's coming to your open house. Nobody's coming to view it because they're just out at the beach and they're walking their dogs in the park and they're not at all interested in real estate that weekend because suddenly they've got their freedom. So, yeah.
Agreed. But it is supposed to be this weekend, so look forward to that. All righty. If you enjoyed our show as much as we did, please like it. Don't forget to subscribe and comment. We'd love to hear what you have to say. Don't forget to get in touch with Charlotte if you have any questions regarding your relatives and maybe some challenges they might be facing. And please share it on your social media. We'd love to hear what you have to say. Andrew, how do people get in touch with you?
I'm Andrew Plank. I'm with the Vibe Collective at Royal LePage, and our team is available to serve you. You can check our website at realvibe.ca, or my website is andrewplank.com, and we've got lots of resources there for folks with questions in real estate, or just give me a call. So that's great. Thanks.
Okay, and Jen?
I am at 250-217-4925, and my email is jen@jenlo.ca, and my website is jenlo.ca.
Okay, and if you need to reach me, I'm Jane Johnston. I'm with the Briar Hill Group at Remax Camosun. My number is 250-744-0775, and you can reach me at jane@briarhillgroup.com. You can look at our listings at briarhillgroup.com, including our lovely new listing on Monterey. And I've just been doing a number of little videos for buyers and sellers at my Instagram on realtyteacher_remax_Victoria. So be sure to watch if you have any questions. Okay. So we are on now Tuesdays at 2:30. live, which means when we mess up, we really mess up, and we'll be better next time. See you later, everybody. Have a great week.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
See you guys.